We are going to talk about money and how to actually get it done, because these three companies are putting circularity into action, and they're going to talk about how you can do it too. I feel like that old TV show, I can do it, so can you. All right, let's keep, okay, we feeling good? Yes, I feel like everyone left. I want them all to come back to hear about how this work can actually be done, because that's why we're all here today. So I want to have each of you introduce yourself, your role at your company, and what your company's circularity story is. And maybe I'll start with Nicole at the end there.
So my name is Nicole Cerroni. I'm the Vice President of Sustainability at L'Oreal USA. For those of you who don't know us at L'Oreal, we are one of the oldest beauty companies in the world, 110 years old and more than 30 iconic brands. And here in the US, we're the largest subsidiary of L'Oreal. So my role in circular economy, I would call wrangling the cats. But really, as you can imagine, we're a big company with research and innovation teams, with packaging and development teams, with public affairs teams, with brand and marketing teams, and really my team sits kind of at the center of all of that. And when it comes to the circular economy, it's really trying to bring to the table all of the various functions who are involved in helping us establish a circular system, with the brands who are really trying to stake sort of their brand identity on circularity, and with the teams who are sort of engaging externally with our systems, policymakers to enable more circular infrastructure that we can sort of rely on. And so I would say L'Oreal's circularity journey is ultimately we're committed to sort of sitting regeneration of nature and circularity at the center of our sustainability commitments. And we approach circularity not from the perspective of one or two products, but really in the way that we create our products, all the way through how consumers use them, and then how they're used at the end of their life. And so we think about our raw material processes, we think about our packaging, we think about our manufacturing processes, and we think about giving the consumers the information that they need to understand how their products should be disposed and what the impacts of those products are.
So you're really talking about multiple lines of business and implementing circularity, sort of an infrastructure within a collection of brands.
Exactly. What are the common processes, design processes, manufacturing processes, marketing processes that we can sort of enable and accelerate at a corporate level to reach, exactly to your point, consumers across our 30 brands and business lines and different markets.
Awesome. Candi, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your circularity story?
My name's Candi Hampton. I'm the Director of Sustainability at Shaw Industries. And if you aren't familiar with Shaw Industries, we're a little over a $6 billion flooring solutions provider. So we make products from commercial and residential carpets to turf to wall covering. So a large variety of products. And then I would just say that from a circularity journey, we really started that about 20 years ago at Shaw Industries. We had a group of young engineers that had kind of heard a little bit about the things that Bill McDonough and Michael Brongart were talking about. So it was before the book, before the certification and the institute. And they were really hungry to do something super innovative and to come to market with a wholly new product. So at the time, commercial carpet tile was PVC based exclusively, and we wanted to make something that did not contain PVC, and we wanted it to be circular. So we really went to work with the principals, really learning about those, exercising those, and created our first Cradle to Cradle certified product, EcoWorks carpet tile, which is wholly recyclable and free of PVC. And so that really kind of set a framework for Shaw to move forward. So it not only around the circularity piece, but about all 5 pillars. That framework is really how we design products today, and it really permeates our entire business. And then I sit on the sustainability team that's responsible for all of the product certifications that we do, all of our material assessments, product stewardship functions. And then we, like Nicole, are very integrated with all of our business partners internally. So we have a waste and reclamation team, we have brand marketing that we work with, and we really sit at the hub to pull all those people together when we're working on anything related to Cradle, but certainly circularity.
I'm a licensed interior designer, so I work with a lot of interior designers, and sometimes they're like, this work, it isn't working. I don't feel like I'm screaming into a void. And one of the things I love to tell them is, when is the last time you smelled new carpet smell? Yeah, think about it. It's been a really long time. And it's because there are companies like Shaw who have decided we're gonna pull this type of stuff out of our products and use a circular solution. And to me, it's one of the most tangible examples of how circularity has an impact on our world, is because we are not smelling that smell anymore. I smelled it the other day and I was like kind of physically offended because I was like, what is going on here? So I just want to give you a great shout out that as a pioneer in this work, it really does have a tangible effect, and we are all actually feeling it today. And so Chris, I want to talk to you about your circularity story, because you're doing something similar.
Yeah, we're doing it, but for interior walls.
Yep.
So I'm an engineer, I'm Chris, I'm the founder and CEO of Juno, and I have a passion for interior walls. And that's why I find it stupid that every year we're throwing away $300 billion of interior walls. We're just throwing it away. And I think throwing away $300 billion is stupid. So that's why we solved that, we created a solution called the Juno wall that at the end of a life is so valuable that we can buy it back and sell it again. And then we buy it back and then we sell it again over and over and over again. And it is modeled in such a way that we make more money on the second, the third, and the fourth life than on the first life. So for my shareholders, they want me to do this. They want me to go for the circular economy because it just makes them more money, which I like, actually.
I like that too. I told you we were going to talk about money. I also want to point out that we are actually on the walls in this room surrounded by Cradle to Cradle certified products. This is Carnegie fabric, which is also Cradle to Cradle certified. So we're just surrounded by circularity right now, which I love. With each of you, I want to talk about how has integrating circular practices, or this idea of circularity, affected the R&D department, or affected how you design and research products across different brands, but in your own company. Does someone want to start with that, or should I just call on you randomly?
I'll start. So like I said, really the principles of Cradle to Cradle have really permeated our entire business. So, and it's evolved over time. So certainly in the last 20 plus years, things have changed. The EcoWorks of yesterday that we invented is not the same EcoWorks today. We don't even recycle it the same way. It affects both innovation and research and design. So we work very closely internally with those business partners. That's been a challenge and a journey as well. So making sure that we're embedded with the right people at the right time is critical. And it's really about making sure that sustainability is a forethought. So making sure that we're designing from the front end products that are circular and more sustainable on the back end. So we don't want to get to a point where our R&D teams are like, hey, we've got this great product and we're ready to go to market. And we're like, yeah, but what about the material health of those ingredients? Or, yeah, but how is it going to be circular? How are we going to take it back or use it at the end of life? So making sure that we're embedded on the front end has been critical. So that's changed processes for us. And it's changed the way our sustainability group as a whole has done business. So where we used to kind of be the trash Gestapos, right? We were focused on energy, water, and waste, and we would come and we would put a stop to innovation or new product design. Now we work more closely with them so that they're more aware and they understand the Cradle to Cradle principles and why those are so important to Shaw from a value standpoint where we stand.
From our side, yeah, that's why we exist. That's why we started the company. So it's very simple. If you don't do it, then you don't work for my company. So it's a different rule set. It's not about convincing people. This is why people are joining my company, because they believe in this. And this is why we set ourselves targets on how circular, how valuable do we want to make our products, what do we want to get out of it. Everything we design needs to be able to buy back, that we can buy it back and sell it again with a higher profit than a new product. This is a difficult thing to achieve in product design, and we just put it in the core of our company.
For those of us, we're not really surrounded a lot by demountable interior walls. Can you tell us a little bit about what even is that?
Okay. The city is filled with it.
Okay.
Okay. So the mountable interior walls are typically you have an office space, and that's just slabs of concrete. And in it, you need to do partitions because you want to have meeting rooms, you want to have conferences, and so on. And those interior walls, yeah, you typically, now you build them, you throw them away. And what we do is you build them, you slide them open, click them together, and at the end of a life, just like Legos, you can dismantle them and build another set of walls with a different height, different color, different length, doesn't matter, that's a demountable wall.
Got it. Okay, so you've built it into your system.
Yeah.
You are adjusting systems. Nicole, can you tell us a little bit about how this affects the R&D of different products, especially across such a wide range of products?
So at L'Oreal, I would say eco-design is sort of the first step towards sustainability for us. And we've been using a tool for years called our Spot tool. But basically, it's a life cycle analysis-based tool that is internal and sits sort of at the heart of our product design process. And so we have a commitment that, for all of our new products, we need to be improving the eco-design score of that product. And so we use this across all of our different product lines, business lines. So we're talking about cosmetics, but we're also talking about our active skincare lines, our luxury fragrance lines. And this is a tool that actually allows us to compare internally product to product. And sitting at the heart of how we actually improve the eco-design of our products from raw material and a formula standpoint is our commitment to green sciences. And really that's all about how we shift our portfolio into plant-based and renewable formulas, ones that reduce their impact on the planet. And I think just a great example of this is Lancome launched their Absolute Serum. And one of the key components of that is a rose extract that was at one point a waste byproduct of the production process, but now has been integrated into the product for its skincare properties. And so I think, to your point, how do we kind of enable this across a large organization and a big product portfolio? It starts with applying the same life cycle analysis principles across the board so that we can actually compare products to product, how we're doing on reformulation and launches.
Awesome. Can we talk a little bit about the infrastructure that you two use, because you're dealing with products that you are taking back? How does that work actually happen? Candi, maybe you want to start with that?
So we're vertically integrated at Shaw, so we have a very large distribution operation. And so that kind of gives us a little bit of a leg up. I think Roxanne from Target said it's hard. Reverse logistics are hard. But we've done a lot of things, and we continue to evolve and innovate within that space. So our carpet tile products and other products that we take back and wholly recycle into new products, we actually mark on the product. So you can pull up a piece of our carpet tile and it says, "We want it back, 1-800-CALL Shaw," which is really awesome when you're trying out in the field to identify product that's been down 10 or plus years. And so that's just one piece of it. The other piece of it is that we're out there, like Roxanne said, actively trying to get it into specifications. So working with designers, working with owners to raise that awareness so that they understand that whoever designed and built the space today is not the person that's going to be demoing it tomorrow. So making sure that it's in the specification so that somebody who is demoing it says, "Oh, wait, this is Shaw product," and we can recycle it. That's another piece. It's also about engaging and educating and raising awareness with the general contractors and the subcontractors. And that's a lot of legwork. So getting out there and having those conversations. Clearly, they're in a hurry and they want to do it as inexpensively as possible. So creating tools that help them understand that it is not additional time to pull our product up and segregate it from the rest of the demo waste. We've created some internal and some external training items around that so that they can really see that process in real life and see the simplicity of it. And then we have an internal reclamation team that actually manages. So they pick up the phone when the 1-800 number rings, and they work directly with that customer to get it back. And then with our distribution teams, we've been expanding the products that we take back wholly. And then we have a way to get those products back from our customers to our distribution facilities so that we can bring them home on a truck of our own. And so that makes it easier as well, not necessarily to our customer, but internally for us, as well as making it more simplistic so that we can offer lower minimums on the amounts that we bring back as well.
And Chris, how do you do it?
Yeah, how do we bring it back? Yeah, first we pay for the stuff, so that's easy. So you can either pay to throw away your interior wall, or you get money to not throw it away, to give it back to us. So that's
That math seems great.
yeah, that's a good, that really helps out. So that's one trigger. It's labeling, what you also said, is so everything, if you open up the walls, you see all our names everywhere so that people can see it, and also very clearly, yeah, what do we want to pay for it? So we're very upfront about that. So that's how we do it. Practically, what we're now trying to do is, at the moment, if I sell a wall in New York City, I'll bring it back to our facilities, and then I sell the wall in Boston, then it always goes back to our facility. So now we're also looking in how can we actually dismantle the wall somewhere in a city and then bring it directly to another city without going to the factory, so that we can go from job site to job site with the same product. So that's kind of in the experimentation phase, but this is where we're going to go to, because the transportation of a job site to a factory and then from a factory to a job site is stupid if you can just do it in the same location. So that's where we're trying to do, and we're also trying to keep the ownership of the walls. So we sell walls, we buy them back, but what we also do is we sell walls with a circular discount. We call it a circular discount. You get a discount because you choose sustainable materials. And with that circular discount, you sign a legal piece of paper that states that at the end of a life, the ownership of that product needs to go to us. So if you don't give it back to us, then you need to pay a penalty. If you do give it back to us, everything is fine. And this is also a great way to track stuff, because then you have legal documents stating this piece of wall in that building is my property. And I'm from Belgium. In Belgium, we can put that even, there is legislative methods to do that legally and to go hold that right. So that's one method. And another one then is leasing. That's also an option, the same principle, but more capital intensive.
I want to talk a little bit about the value of circularity for your businesses. Can you talk a little bit about the tangible rewards that you have gotten, if they exist? I hope they do. How has this affected your business? Let's talk about the money now. He likes talking about money. Okay, let's do it.
You have circular economy, and also you have a concept of circular value. So circular value is a very simple thing, is something at the end of its life valuable enough to start reusing. So you compare the cost of the residual value, the residual value of a product, if that's high, and it costs a little much money to reuse it, then you get a lot of money, you pay a little money, you make value, you make profits. If it's not valuable at the end of a life, and it costs a lot of money to get it out of the wall, demount the wall, then you're going to throw it away because you can't make money with that at the end. Think about, for instance, tiles on a roof. If you see the tiles on a roof, you need to go up to the roof, you need to take them down one by one, then you need to clean them, then you need to make sure there is no hazardous materials in it, or like asbestos or something, and then you can sell them again. So it's a lot of labor and a lot of effort for a very, very cheap product, and that not enough value to make that balance work. If you think about Legos, yeah, Legos is, and we were talking about child labor, sorry, but Lego is going to be dismantled for free by your kids. So you can use your kids to dismantle it, and then you have a valuable kit of materials that you can sell again. And that's circular value. That's a balance between what's the residual value of a product and how much does it cost me to reuse it. And if you make sure that that balance is the correct way, just like Legos, then suddenly you can make a lot of money with it. We buy stuff back at 10 and we sell it at 100. You go from 1 to 10. It's a huge gross margin. It's in construction unseen what you can do that by making it circular valuable. And this is something we measure, and every product that we sell, we design it to achieve the highest level of circular value so that we can make money with it.
So maybe I'll bring in just the consumer angle, because we're a consumer-facing company, but we're really proud at L'Oreal that we've got over 500 products Cradle to Cradle certified, and I'm looking at my colleague Holly in the audience and our partner Monica, who've really helped to drive that for us. But I would say that, you know, the investments that we've made in circular processes from a raw material standpoint, a manufacturing standpoint, a packaging standpoint, we've been able to leverage in order to achieve those certifications. And the reason that that's relevant is that we have a number of retail partners who place a lot of value in third-party certification as a way to communicate reliably with the consumer about sort of the sustainability standards behind our products. And we've really seen that as an avenue to try to test kind of what is consumer appetite for sustainability in partnership with our retail partners and sort of their programs that communicate to consumers on circularity. And so I would say that really for us, it's been being able to leverage sort of these third-party certifications to describe and capture what we've been able to achieve.
So I think for us, it's more than money, right? And so we have definitely internal circularity processes where we're able to take the waste from our processes, put it back into our product, make more product out of it. So we definitely have that piece that we work with. It keeps us from sending waste from our processes to the landfill, which is always awesome. Or finding new avenues and being innovative with products that maybe we can't recycle internally. But then externally, which I think is so important, is yes, we bring the product back and we can cycle it back into new products. So we're buying less virgin materials to make the same product because we're able to recycle that product into itself, which is super exciting and definitely the financial piece. But the other piece for us is really about climate change. It's about the carbon emissions. So the more we're recycling our products back into our products, we're avoiding landfill use, and then we're being able to lower the carbon footprint of our products by utilizing that recycled content. So as we put more recycled content into our backings, into our yarns, we end up ultimately with a lower footprint product because we're reusing our waste to make new products.
Nicole, I love how you said that part of your job description is wrangling. And so one of the things I also find is that sustainability folks also have to be translators. And so I want to talk a little bit about both how you translate this work internally, but also externally. My poor mother, I always use her as my beta tester and my example, but she doesn't know what circularity means, but she knows she wants good stuff. And so how do you communicate what circularity is to different teams who are maybe very new to this internally? And then I'd love to talk about consumer-facing things, but how do you translate this work between like engineers and marketing people and sustainability people? Like, what does that work look like?
I think that for us, the first step is sort of understanding what the primary goal or motivation of a particular team is. So I talked about sort of our spot tool and our life cycle analysis process for our R&D teams, but it's sort of a very science-based and tangible way for them to assess the extent when they're developing a product, the extent to which one is better from an environmental standpoint than another, and actually creating some incentives and goals for those teams around achieving that outcome. I think for our marketing teams who are sort of on a completely different side of the equation, it's about how do we take all of the effort that we've made around more sustainable packaging. So maybe, they had a vision for their packaging and we came in and we said, listen, like we've got goals around lightweighting, we've got goals around PCR that are really gonna necessitate maybe a different approach to packaging, but how do we help them understand then, here's how you can leverage this particular product design to qualify for a retailer sustainability program that ultimately is going to reach your consumers in a different way. So I think at the end of the day, it's really trying to understand kind of what's the goal and motivation of the team, and then how do we bake in some of these processes or better decision making to enable that goal in a way that feels for them they're actually achieving what they're set out to drive, as opposed to what our motivations are, which is around sustainability.
Chris?
I think it's indeed important that you just translate your message to the person that you're talking with. So if we're talking to real sustainability gurus, then we're talking about EPDs and we're talking about embodied carbon of our product being upfront like 40% less than a normal product. Those are the things that we then talk about in detail. If you're talking with product developers, it's all about, okay, that circular value. How can you create more circular value products? If you're talking to, for instance, financial people, circular economy is nothing else than money that cycles back in your pocket. That's simple to explain it to them. And then to the broader audience, it's about a movement. It's like, okay, we know what's happening with climate, we know what's going on, and we need to drastically change the way how we work, how we live. We need to drastically change that. And to change that, my personal vision is everybody likes money, everybody runs behind money, so make the sustainable thing just more cost efficient than the non-sustainable thing. And then just everybody runs there, and they will not do it because of its sustainability, but they will do it because they cost less money. It's more logical to do, and that's how you're going to convince your mother, actually, like, this is, go for sustainability because it's better for a better price.
I'll try that next time. Yeah, thank you.
So, I mean, I think I'm lucky that I have a team of pretty well-rounded people that have technical engineering backgrounds or manufacturing backgrounds, but also we're pretty eloquent speakers and can articulate the why, right? It's about telling the story and telling the why so that people buy in and they understand. And then we have a really awesome director of communications for sustainability on our team. And so she really helps take all the technical things that my team does and then translate it to the various brands and provide them with assets that they can then build on and put in their brand language. From an internal standpoint, we do lots of different things, and it's really about that business partner engagement, because when we're meeting with technical teams and engineers, we're slightly having a different conversation than we would have when we're meeting with our marketing or even our sales folks. And then we actually have another person on our team who is more customer facing from a sales perspective that helps us also get the story out there to our customers on the commercial side. So lots of different moving pieces, and I think it's about developing those assets. So setting what is the corporate expectation, what is the corporate messaging around sustainability, what are we doing corporately, and then letting those brands really put that message into their own language and talk about, so for Shaw Contract, it's people together, planet forever. And so all of their messaging and storytelling is based on that theme with specific circularity intentions that are woven in. And so it's providing that educational piece, helping them understand how to go talk about it in market. It's about helping them with the assets, like I spoke to the videos, that kind of simplify the process. It's having the 1-800 number and the website. So making it really easy for them to know how to get their customers into that conversation and then how to connect them to actual making circularity a thing.
Jason was talking about like how you talk about this with consumers. You know, how do you talk about circularity with consumers or with clients? Are they bringing it to you? Are you bringing it to them? Who are these consumers, and how are you reaching them? How do you find is most effective to, is it, like you said, is it short-term videos? Are we all TikTokers now? Are you doing, you know, FAQ pages? Like, what does it look like to reach these consumers, and then how do you open the tent for more consumers to join this sort of circular movement?
One of the things that we see a lot is showcasing success as well. So we are, like in Belgium, we are very known for our circular drive. And that's also in a lot of prizes and things that we win. We're, for instance, 2 years in a row, the fastest growing sustainable company in Belgium. And that attracts people, that attracts attention to people, and this is how you can get them on board, because they see something, prizes, they see something, could also be a label that you just received, and then they start to investigate what it is, and that's how they can start discovering, because people have always a kind of fear of missing out, and you don't want to miss out the next big thing, and circular economy is one of the biggest next things in there. So that's how I see it.
Yeah, and I know you work with a lot of large companies who do co-working spaces. Yeah. What are the things that they're bringing to you when they say, we're interested in your product, here's why?
Often it's because of the flexibility. So it's they want to have flexible spaces, they want to have sustainable spaces. That is what they come for flexibility and sustainability. And then over time, we can start to explain them what is the real circular value of this product. And it takes time, because it's a crazy idea about products that make value, that's weird. But over time, you see that you can take them, but they come in for flexibility and sustainability in their office spaces.
Last year, we launched our product impact label, and what that does is it takes that internal tool I was talking about, Spot, that's based on life cycle analysis, and it actually translates it to be consumer facing. And what it does is it takes our products within the same category, and it provides a ranking A through E based on the environmental impact of those products. And the goal of it is to create some transparency for consumers around product impact across a number of categories, whether that's nature or climate or waste. And the reason I bring this up is because at the same time that we launched this tool with some of our US brands, we also did a study with Morning Consult, and we found that 80% of US consumers want information about the sustainability of their products, but only less than 50% said that they actually felt like they had the information they need to make more sustainable choices. And I think for us, it's really, when it comes to circularity, and we think about things like refill models, for example, or shampoo bars as opposed to bottles, which is full of water, to be honest. It ultimately is going to require us to ask consumers to behave differently. And we need to be able to help them understand why they need to do something differently. And for us, the first step there is transparency. And this sort of ranking actually allows consumers to distinguish why one product may be better than the other, so that as we do start to ask them to behave differently to enable more circular models, there's sort of a justification for why they'll do that. And I think our ultimate vision, we're part of this group called the Eco Beauty Score Consortium, and ultimately we're hoping to partner with other players within the beauty industry to make this ranking not just a L'Oreal versus L'Oreal product, but products across the beauty industry, so that you can choose not just one L'Oreal brand shampoo against another, but also against other brands. And ultimately, I think by increasing sort of consumer awareness, transparency, and kind of confidence in the information they're getting on sustainability, we can actually start to push them to make different decisions and also behave differently in the way they interact with their products.
I think when we're talking to customers, especially in the commercial space, where I think we find that they're much more keen on all things sustainability, it's a mixed bag, and it's been a journey, right? So we started, recycled content was super important, and everybody had minimums, and a lot of that was really driven by LEED and other green building programs, and then it's really transitioned. And so we talked earlier about how carbon is like the #1 focus, and everybody is so honed in on carbon. And so it's about using things like Cradle to Cradle to truly leverage that interconnectedness. So circularity impacts carbon and climate change. Material health impacts circularity. So all of those things impact one another. So it's about leveraging the certification that we have, as well as educating, whether that's bringing customers on site and doing customer visits and mill tours and having an opportunity for sustainability to come in and just spiel for an hour and answer questions. We've done lots of virtual connections with our customers around the globe, so that we're having that opportunity to do training, as well as making sure that our sales team are comfortable having those conversations. And a lot of time with circularity, it's a lot easier to talk about, hey, we have this program and we want to bring it back, but here's the benefit to you. If you give it back to us, we're going to end up giving you lower embodied carbon products. So that resonates a little bit, because carbon is such a big focus for them right now, that they're bought in and they're interested, and it helps them from an ESG reporting perspective as well. So understanding that they gave that product back so that it could be recycled and not go into a landfill. We've had customers connect with us saying, hey, can we write up a case study about the big job that you took back and did that? So lots of different ways to connect with them on their level. Certainly, carbon's a hot topic, right? But it's very not well understood. And so trying to get out there and just do some education within the built environment has been critical.
Before we take a couple questions, if people have questions, I would love for each of you to leave with a takeaway, which is, if someone is starting on this journey, who is someone they need to make sure they talk to? Like, who is an unsung hero that really needs to be talked to make sure that this work actually happens? I don't know, is it the legal department? Is it the maintenance people? Like, who is it that you want to make sure is at that table when you start having this conversation? And in the meantime, y'all think of some questions.
For us, I think it's our sustainability group, and I think it's because we kind of sit at the hub that we can connect all the dots. So we can go in and have that conversation with legal. We can pull in the reclamation team. We can work with the sales team. So I think having our sustainability group in is probably the most critical, so that we can really do all the directives and make sure that everybody's on board before we get too far down the road.
So you're wrangling, you're connecting dots, and you're translating.
Yes, we do a lot of that.
Yeah.
I'm going to say the folks sort of hidden in teams who have the data. So I'm thinking about the process for us to achieve our Cradle to Cradle certifications, for example, and there are folks in our sourcing teams, our packaging and development teams, our research and innovation teams, who are the ones that handle the data, the product information, the supply chain information, the packaging information, and ultimately without them and without a process to assemble all of that and validate it, us being able to achieve these certifications wouldn't exist. And you'd think this information is easily accessible, but it can be buried sometimes, and it's a labor of love to bring all of it together into one place. So I think it's those folks in the spreadsheets are the unsung heroes.
I love it.
I would answer with one of our core values of our company, that's learn smart. So whenever anybody in our company, you can learn by trying or doing, you can learn by failing, but you can even learn faster by just asking the people who have done it already successfully before you in other companies and other industries. Reach out to them and ask them. So if you have that challenge, just find people who have already solved that challenge or are successful in solving them, connect them with LinkedIn, go out, have some food, and learn from them. Because every challenge is going to change over time, so then you just find new experts to talk with and learn from them.
Great. Do we have any questions from the audience?
Hi, I'm Nick from New Zealand, so naturally I have a question about sheep. We've heard from a few people this morning and this afternoon in the flooring space, and ironically, we don't know what we're doing wrong with wool. There's a lot of talk this morning about flooring with looking at corn derivatives, looking at recycling Coke bottles, but ironically we're here because we're transforming wool into powders that can go into personal care because we can't get the wool into the old flooring markets that it used to go into. What are we doing wrong? What is there? Consumers aren't interested in it? Is it too difficult? Is it too expensive? Do you have a view on why wool isn't what it used to be in flooring?
Well, so I'm a licensed interior designer, and I speak with a lot of designers in my role here. And I would say that maybe they just aren't aware that it's an option. They might have clients that are not, they are familiar with it as like an area rug solution, but they aren't aware that it could be a larger scale solution. I would go to some designers, and if you're interested in connecting with any of them, let me know. I'd be happy to get you in front of some of them. But I would just get some feedback directly from designers and just ask them. I feel like there's a lot of things in the flooring industry where everything old is new again. I myself am a big linoleum girl, just ask my friends here. And so, but part of it is talking to designers about what they're looking for and what their clients are asking for. So I would just get in front of them and have them talk at you.
Hi, my name is Ben Milstein. I work for Local Projects, which is a company that actually just finished some work for L'Oreal around your innovation headquarters in Paris. So I had a question for Nicole. You said you had, I think, 500 certified products and that it's hard to wrangle all this data, but I'm curious, is it getting easier when you make a new product to compare and contrast successes? And if you could just share a little bit about the process for making new sustainable products that you aim to get certified.
I mean, I think what you're asking is a great question, because I think we're starting to think a little bit about, if we want products to be cradle-to-cradle certified on the back end, how are we thinking about them at the design stage? But what I really like about cradle-to-cradle is that its approach is generally aligned with that tool that I mentioned, our Spot tool that we use to sort of make design decisions. It's LCA-based. And so I think kind of the alignment in principle between our internal process and then the cradle-to-cradle certification is really helpful. I think for us, it's a matter of sort of figuring out the right system to bring all the information together at the end to achieve the certification. And so my colleague Holly is here, who can tell you all about how we actually mobilize that internally at L'Oreal, if there are any other folks who are interested in that. But I think ultimately we've figured out how to use internal solutions to automate the processes around brands who actually want the certification, who pays for the certification, how do we get all the information we need about the product to enable the certification. And so I think, honestly, the design tool exists. It's more the messy middle, I would call it, about kind of getting the internal buy-in to actually go for cradle-to-cradle certification and then pulling all the information together that we need to achieve it.